So I see the strike now in New York, and I'm going to just talk on it a little bit because New York City nurses are striking. And if you think it's just about money, you're missing the real story. You're missing the real story because the truth is, even with good nursing salary, many nurses in New York are still barely surviving. Yeah, they're still barely surviving. Today, I want to just honestly talk about, the New York nurses and the strike, the cost of living, and what this really means for nurses, especially international nurses who are thinking about moving to New York, because that is one place that we always want to go, right? And this is not to scare you, but it's just to inform you. So that way you can make that informed decision, because nobody warned us about a lot of things. And so this is why I created my page, to share information so you can be well informed. If you're new here, my name is Stacey, and I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to go ahead and subscribe to my page here for more content related to nursing, travel, and lifestyle. Let's just talk about the strike. Let's just start with the strike itself, because nurses are not striking because they don't want to work. Nurses love patient care. A lot of us do love patient care. Striking because of the unsafe nurse-to-patient ratio, the chronic short staffing, the burnout and the mental exhaustion, and the wages. It doesn't match the cost of living in New York. So when hospitals are fully staffed on paper but short staffed in real life, nurses are the ones that are carrying the burden. One nurse covering multiple patients is unsafe for both the patient as well as for the nurse. But let's just talk about the elephant in the room, because yes, the cost of living in New York, it's crazy. People hear New York salary for the nurses and they think that, oh, the nurse is rich. But let's just break it down a little bit. Because when you think about the rent alone in New York, you're thinking about anywhere between, like, say, we're going to say $2,500 to $4,000 for one little dege bedroom, one small bedroom. And even if you want to live close to the to work, yes, it might be a little bit more. And that's before utilities. When it comes on to transportation, you have to think about monthly Metro card. You have to think about gas, toll, parking if you're going to be driving to work. Time lost commuting. Sometimes it can be anywhere between 1 to 2 hours each way. Looking at groceries, basic food can cost way more than other states. If you want to eat healthy, that's also expensive. Eating out, yeah, you can't forget that. If you have children, that can cost you a bit in terms of childcare, because it might cost you just as much as your rent. And so you might find that some nurses are paying a lot of money to daycare. So yes, you may work a lot of money per hour, but the money disappears as fast as how you get it. And this is where it gets very dangerous for a lot of persons, because yes, many nurses in New York, they're surviving in New York by what? Picking up all of those overtime. They're working the night shifts. They're working multiple shifts. But at what cost? Because a lot of them, they're just tired. They're emotionally drained. They don't get a chance to rest, heal, and enjoy life. And when nurses are exhausted, when they are, when they're so exhausted, that is when mistakes happen. And it's not because they're careless, but because the system is broken. Burned out nurses, they cannot provide the best care. Yes, they cannot provide the best care. No matter how passionate they are, they cannot. So let me just talk to the nurses, the international nurses, directly, because a lot of time, this is one place that we want to go. New York is one of the places that we often say, yes, that's where I want to go. And it's because, one, we get a lot of sponsored visas there, or it has a lot of hospitals, or it sounds like it's the best opportunity. But the truth is that New York will test you emotionally, financially, and mentally. The culture shock that is there is another thing. The high expenses, the fast pace, and then the little support is another thing. So some nurses will come thinking that they will save money quickly, only to realize that they're surviving and not thriving. And this doesn't mean that New York is bad, It means that you must come prepared and informed. So why the strike is important, or why the strike matters in New York, and it's not only about the nurses in New York. It's not about a strike that is only for the nurses in New York. It's about the future of nursing. Because if nurses stay silent, the conditions, they're not going to change. If the nurses leave the bedside, who's going to suffer? The patients. If the nurses burn out, the profession is going to suffer. So nurses are asking for safe staffing. They're asking for fair pay that matches the cost of living. They're asking for respect for the work they do. And that is not asking for too much. And we see it all the time, because even in my country, it is something that we talk about all the time. Nurses need more money, they need better pay. So the real question is, how do we expect nurses to care for patients in one of the most expensive cities in the world when they can't afford to take care of themselves? How? So if you're a nurse in New York, I want you to go ahead and share your experience below. If you're thinking about moving there, ask the questions. And if you're supporting any of the nurses, or if you're in support of, I want you to go ahead and just speak up. It's our time to speak up. Go ahead and share your comment down below. This is just the reality of nurses in New York City, and we need to keep talking about it so there can be a change and there can be improvement in the system. All right, until then, I will see you in the next video. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube page, Think Nursing, where I share content related to nursing, travel, and lifestyle in the next video. Bye.